Hello and welcome back to the fourth and final part of the Power Max Mini Challenge from Oulton Park. This weekend has really been about the icon of motoring that is Mini, of course our cars being a big part of that. A bit earlier on I spoke to the head of product for Mini UK, Nicholas Griebner.
Minis belong on the track, and today Oulton Park, fantastic weather, and been watching all day now racing. So whether it's classic minis or Cooper class up to F56, it's just minis belong on a racetrack, being driven hard, and it's just fantastic. So very excited indeed.
Yeah. What about this particular championship itself and the cars involved?
Well, being a one-make series, it's very competitive. So we have a very nice mix of young drivers, more experienced drivers, and those are drivers, they have an ambitious career that they want to make. So it is hard racing. This is not this is wheel-to-wheel racing, and therefore I think also for spectators and mini fans today at the festival, it's really fantastic to see good close wheel-to-wheel racing.
After a dramatic first race, the Gen 3s and JCWs are taking to the tarmac once more. The motors are revving. Let's go over to Ben and find out what that reverse grid means for this race.
Thanks, Michelle. What it means is that Ryan Rode lines up in pole position. He shares the front row with David Grady. Then it's a very rapid row to Lee Patterson and William Phillips from Charlie Butler Henderson and Lawrence Davey. Amongst the JCWs, Scott Adam starts from pole, ahead of Jason Jeffries. Kevin O'Connor, Neil Newstead and Hamish Brandon, the cars to watch for as they aim to come through the pack. Let's get ready for the start, and away we go. And it's not a good getaway from Ryan Rode, just a momentary hesitation. And it's David Grady who jumps through into the lead, and now Rode is being shuffled all the way down to 5th or 6th as they hurtle through Oulton. A bit of contact there between Rode and William Phillips, and Phillips is sideways in front of the pack. Somehow they miss him. They hit each other though, and there are cars everywhere through the dust. It's probably easy to say who hasn't been involved, because there are 4 or 5 of them all pointing in the wrong direction, and it's Henry Gilbert once more who's been caught up. He has had a terrible day of bad luck. None of this, however, is of any concern for David Grady. He leads it from Lee Patterson and Charlie Butler Henderson. Then it's Lawrence Davey and Ryan Rode next along. But I suspect we are going to be looking down the business end of a safety car here, because the track was near enough blocked. And yes, the safety car boards are out nice and early, so the race is neutralised, being just a couple of corners old.
Quite a lot of damaged cars.
And so weaving around then, that is Lawrence Davey. So Rob Smith, another of the drivers, caught up in that, and also that's Callum King on his side. How did that happen? He was taking evasive action, the car goes over and around, the roll cage doing its job. Jason Jeffries keeping his foot in, powering through, and then snapping sideways and slamming into Ben Spallock. Well, as ever, the marshals at Oulton Park doing a fantastic job after a relatively brief hiatus. The race getting back underway, and it's David Grady who has the responsibility of leading the field with the bright red car of Lee Patterson in close pursuit. Then Charlie Butler Henderson from Davey, and Ryan Rode, whose slightly sluggish start from pole position really probably instigating most of the incidents behind. But now Patterson already applying the pressure to David Grady. We've seen this several times this year. Grady has got absolutely fantastic single lap pace, but over the course of the race he generally is more consistent than spectacular. Not been racking up the wins, but he has been racking up the championship points, which could become all important at the end of this Power Maxed Mini Challenge season. So they head around Shell Oil's corner, and David Grady trying to break clear of Lee Patterson. Can't really do it at the moment, but that leading trio, including Charlie Butler Henderson, now clear of the next group behind Lawrence Davey. What about the JCW class? It would appear as if Kevin O'Connor and Neil Newstead are closely ensconced in battle. Got a bit of a queue behind Jason Butler. There was a glimpse of O'Connor, who's just got his nose in front of Neil's Newstead at the moment, as into his lots of this trainer cars, and Grady using every single inch of the road, and he needs to do it because Lee Patterson, something of a serial race winner in the Power Max Mini Challenge, is breathing down his tail as they exit Hizzies and climb up over Clay Hill. Druids is their next obstacle. It's really the extra Druids that Grady has to be mindful of, because that will give the opportunity for Patterson to get the propulsion to challenge on the brakes into Lodge Corner, and that's exactly what he looks to do as Patterson darts the inside and snatches the lead. Brilliant move from Lee Patterson, desperately late on the brakes, and Grady has that momentary hesitation on the apex, and as a result it could possibly give Charlie Butler-Henderson an opportunity to challenge into Old Hall. Grady would appear to have it covered, but Butler-Henderson goes for it, darts out at the last moment and forces open a gap which wasn't really there. So in the blink of an eye, David Grady slips from first to third, still there in contention for a podium as he negotiates Cascades. There's the race leader though, Lee Patterson. Now, can Patterson break clear? That's what he's going to try and do. Meanwhile, Harry Volkard in sixth, applying the pressure to Ryan Rode, and Rode in third, snapping at the heels of Lawrence Davey, and that is one of the most enjoyable facets of the Power Max Mini Challenge, is the cars all running very tightly together, and if you overcommit to a move, your rival behind will be passed in the blink of an eye. A few snatch the brake, a couple of licks of flame as well, as the field shuffle through Britons and then head up over the crest at Hilltop on towards Hizzies. And that safety car period taking out a lot of time from the race means the drivers have really have the laps to try and resolve this one. In seventh place, there's Sam Osborne, beginning to bring himself into the mix. Sam, another driver who has had great success in the past in the Mini Challenge. There's Hamish Brandon, currently third in the JCW class, behind Neil Newstead and Kevin O'Connor. Ben Spallog, despite that big hit from Jason Jeffries, is on the recovery trail. Close as they are to each other, nobody quite in a position where they can fashion the move just at the moment. That, I am sure, will doubtless change between now and the flag as they flash through, and Lee Patterson leads into another lap. Ryan Rode looking every which way to try and overhaul Lawrence Davey. The boot, of course, from the other foot in the opening race of the day, as they negotiate Old Hall, swooping downhill into Cascades. Meanwhile, there is Neil Newstead. So Newstead, the JCW class leader from Kevin O'Connor. Still got Ben Spalog just scything his way up the order, but he's one of the F56 cars, so they don't really need to worry about him too much in terms of their class battle as Patterson arrives into Island Bend. Then we've got another challenge. In fact, that's Lawrence Davey, who has still got Rode snapping his heels, and Ryan Rode looks to the inside at Shell Oil's corner. Can't sneak past. Thought he saw a gap for a moment there. That gap rapidly disappeared. But despite the pair of them battling as intensely as they have been, have managed just to slip away from Harry Volkard. So that is some consolation. Volkard possibly being caught a little bit by Sam Osborne. So again, Hilltop is crested. The next challenge, where they arrive now, is into Hislop. Getting very, very late in the race too. As they exit Hislop, head on towards Druids. Road not as close to Lawrence Davey as he was at the start of the lap. Consequently, may have to do something very, very brave on the brakes into Lodge. Here is Neil Newstead, who is in pursuit of Chris Oakman. Newstead negotiating his lots for the final time en route towards JCW class honours, or so he hopes. There is Kevin O'Connor behind him. O'Connor, though, not quite close enough change. Then Hamish Brandon, third in the JCW class, some way back as the checkered flag goes out, and Lee Patterson takes victory from Charlie Butler-Henderson. David Grady completing the podium. It's Lawrence Davey across the line in fourth. Now, what about the JCW battle? Neil Newstead, I think, is going to do it. Indeed he does. He holds on from Kevin O'Connor, and then it's Hamish Brandon who completes the JCW podium. Great racing through the field. So let's have a look then at the final results. In the F56s, Lee Patterson wins it from Charlie Butler-Henderson and David Grady. Then Lawrence Davey in fourth, Ryan Rode fading to seventh late on. Amongst the JCWs, Neil Newstead, Kevin O'Connor and Hamish Brandon comprise the podium, clear of Steve King and Craig Freeman. So an excellent day's racing in the Power Max Mini Challenge, and time once more to celebrate on the rostrum and let rip the champagne.
Race win, and even with a bad wrist. Well done you.
Yeah, no, it makes the weekend worthwhile. To be honest, until we were at the hospital on Tuesday to see how the healing was going of the wrist, and when they said the pot could come off, first thing I did was send a text to Anthony saying, what's happening with the car? Is anybody in it?
Neil, you must be a happy man after that.
Michelle, after my start in the first race, to get the start I had in that race, I was so chuffed. And then we come into it, and then there was carnage everywhere. I thought, oh my God, just stay out of trouble, stay out of trouble. And I went one way, went the other way, through the middle I couldn't go. How I got through it, I don't know.
So let's have a look at the standings then, leaving Oulton Park. And in the F56s, it's David Grady who's out front, clear of Lawrence Davey and Ryan Road. Consistency being the key. Amongst the JCWs then, it's Neil Newstead to the fore, ahead of Hamish Brandon, Alan Taylor and Steve Ruxton-Cocker.
Lots of drama, but lots of fun, and that concludes an epic weekend of racing in the Power Max Mini Challenge. Don't forget, you can keep up to date with everything that's going on our website, on Facebook and on our Twitter page. But for now, from Oulton Park, it's goodbye, and we'll see you at Donington.